Today, the World Health Organization officially announced that this is a global pandemic.
To save lives, the city has poured tens of millions into increased hospital capacity and testing facilities.
Are considering what their new normal will look like as they plan to reopen in the near future.
Total of 68,824 New Jerseyans who have now tested positive.
There's a lot of uncertainty among parents, especially those who plan to send their kids off to college in the fall.
All right, now I can record this. Let me get the script up. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Will, for joining us on the show today. Make sure you stay healthy. Next guest we have on today's episode is Bella Basil, class of 2021 from Douglasville. Bella runs on the cross-country team, is a member of the swim and dive team, and runs track in the spring. Bella also has a younger brother, Regan Basil, who is a third former this year. How are you, Bella?
I'm good, Aiden. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
No problem.
So I was wondering, with quarantine and all this free time, what have you been doing to stay busy, or what have you learned with all this time on your hands?
That's a really good question. Well, I've been in quarantine longer than most people. I was actually traveling before all of this stuff started happening. So my family, we self-quarantined before actual quarantine started. So this is about my 5th week in quarantine. So I've had a lot of time on my hands, and I was really bored the first couple of weeks, but my grandma lives very close with us. So during all of this time, I've gone and visited her like almost every day. And in that time, I've learned how to sew and embroider things on clothing. So I've been doing that to a lot of old clothes and helping, her with that stuff just because of all the time we have. Also, just I've learned to get along really well with my family because we've been together for 5 weeks straight without, leaving and going and seeing other people. So we really learned just how to compromise, especially things like in the day when we're all trying to get work done. And my brother too, spending a lot of time with him. We've just all learned to compromise and share things, and I've had a lot of time to watch movies, so that's been good too. But yeah, just like other little things to pass the time.
Cool. Yeah, nice. All right, well, thank you, Bella, and stay healthy.
Thank you.
The next guest that we have on today's episode is Will Schaller, class of 2022, boarder from Maryland. He's a member on the varsity hockey and lacrosse team. How are you, Will?
I'm good. Hey, Aiden, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course.
So we're talking about what have some of the Hill students and Hill faculty been doing to pass time during quarantine. So I was wondering if you picked up anything new, or what have you been doing that you wouldn't have normally now that you have all this free time on your hands?
I would say I've learned a little bit about how valuable spending time with my family is, trying to do as much of that as possible. And to pass some time, I've picked up some things, trying to do some projects around the house, been laying floor, installing lights, new lights like chandeliers and things like that. Anything just to keep us busy, easy or hard, that sort of thing.
Have you been staying in touch with any of your close friends from Hill at all? Hop on Zoom calls or anything like that?
Yeah, we try to, talk when we can, whether that's over text or over a Zoom call. The lacrosse teammates or classmates or anything like that, whether it's during the week or, on the weekend. So
mm-hmm. You brought up talk with the lacrosse team. What are you guys doing to try to stay as close of a team as you are, even though you guys aren't physically with each other? Are you guys doing anything to try to stay close as a team?
So coach likes to refer to it as physical distancing, not social distancing. So with that, we have, at least 2 weekly Zoom calls, and we share, the workouts that we're doing, things that we're doing around the house or with our families, anything that we think could just be beneficial to the team, just like if we were there at school in the midst of our lacrosse season.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for that, and thanks for joining us on the show today. Make sure you and your family stay healthy.
Likewise.
So we had Will Schaller and Bella Basil on the show earlier. Now we have head clinician, instructor of psychology, and head boys water polo coach, Mr. Jones. So, Mr. Jones, how are you today?
I'm very well, Aiden. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us on the show today. So we've been discussing what people have been doing during quarantine to pass time, and what kind of things have you might have picked up and learned with all this free time on your hands?
Sure. Yeah. I would say in terms of my free time, I've been exercising a bit more, doing things like yoga and some more like just sort of weight training and ab exercises and push-ups and things like that. And so probably in maybe better shape than I've been in a little while. But also definitely embracing the mindfulness, meditation piece, as I like to do in general. But finding that this is a great time to, I think that to answer your question of what have I learned, perhaps the biggest thing I've learned is the reminder to embrace the moment and really embrace the pace and embrace the new flow, if you will. Right. So it was hard for a few weeks to sort of be in the house and doing these things, and just I love the routine of my life when there's a routine. And so for the routine to go out the window, I needed to remind myself and sort of recalibrate and really embracing the routine, embracing the flow, embracing the pace. That's been probably the most important thing I've learned, embracing the pace.
So as you talk about as this idea of embracing the pace, for some of our listeners out there, do you have any advice as to what they might be able to do to help embrace the pace and kind of get the mindset correct?
Sure. A lot of it helps with starting. Gosh, there's so many ways to do it. Certainly having a bit of a routine, which then involves getting into that mindset. So in other words, things I've sort of shifted, my phone, for instance, is on my bed because it provides a sound machine and my alarm in the morning. And, the habit of sort of picking up my phone to turn off the alarm or the sound machine, but then also checking emails and texts can set you up for like a faster pace. Like, I got to get on this. I got to do that. Here we go. And so I just heard this in a podcast recently, the idea of like, wait at least 5 minutes before checking your phone when you wake up. And so your mind isn't getting in that sort of racing thoughts and go. And what do I have to do kind of mode. So waiting at least 5 minutes has been a new part of my routine. And then taking a moment, I'm all for the meditation piece. I generally meditate every morning, but taking a moment during my meditation time to just even say that to myself, embrace the pace. This is enjoy the flow of the day, enjoy how this day is going to go, to really sort of think about the day ahead and calibrate myself for just embracing how it's going to go, think it through and reassure myself that even though it may feel unsettling at times, it's fine. It's just what it is right now.
Perfect. Yeah, that's helpful. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'll make sure to try those simple tasks. Hopefully embrace the pace a little bit. Well, thank you and stay healthy.
Thank you, Aiden. Appreciate you having me on.